Welcome to the Backlash at Backlash.com. My name is Rod Van Mechelen, and in this video I'm going to read excerpts from my 1992 article, Who's Got the Power? The footnoted article is linked below. Quote, to want freedom is to want not only what men have, but also what men are, close quote. Andrea Dworkin, Intercourse. Quote, when women are at the height of their beauty power and exercise it, we call it marriage. When men are at the height of their success power and exercise it, we call it midlife crisis, close quote. Warren Farrell, Why Men Are the Way They Are. Quote, if there's no such thing as sexual power, then what is it women fear losing with age, close quote. Wilbur Wormwood, The Backlash. The power to command men's attention. For a very long time, fecund young women have enjoyed the power to command men. They are the sexual aristocrats, but there's a limit to their sexual power, and it's called age. With the passing of time, women lose their sex appeal. This, and the liberation won by second-wave feminists, combine to teach women how hard it is to earn power in the man's world. Without the safety net formerly provided by marriage, they must sink or swim on their own productive merits. Many resent this, perceiving disrespect in such equality. Who can blame them? Throughout their youth, they grow accustomed to commanding the attention and care of men with little more than a smile and the implied promise of sex. Then, this power to command fades, and they begin to encounter the same problems most men confront while still young. This is the dilemma women face today. Feminism won them the right to reject the old institutions, but a customary dependence is a hard habit to break. In response, feminists are working to extend women's reign as sexual aristocrats by portraying men as predators and women as their prey, preying essentially upon men's power to live. The power to live. Power is the key to survival. The power to create commerce, build factories, and establish spaces safe from the harsher forces of nature is the power of civilization. It's the power to live. This requires political freedom, which Ayn Rand defined in the political context as the absence of physical coercion. It also requires intelligence, creativity, vision, determination, and cooperation. Women and men who understand this are the heroes of our time. They nurture civilization. But feminists don't understand this. They just don't get it. They don't understand that all power beyond the brutish power of the clenched fist begins with the creativity and ends with productivity. They don't understand that power is not some objective thing that exists like rocks in the hills, but like wealth, it's created. Now, wealth may be stolen for a moment, but when the moment is gone and the power is spent, it must be stolen again and again and again, because the only source of human power is the human mind applied to solving the problems of survival. Because they don't understand, they envy the creative and economic power men earn, and so they promote the idea men have all the power and that it is stolen. If men have all the power, then men must be responsible for everything that goes wrong. Consequently, their power must be taken away. And that's precisely what feminists are doing, squandering our power. When a woman divorces her husband and then falsely accuses him of sexually assaulting their children as a means to persuade the courts to order him to stay away, she labels him a predator. Then, when it comes time to determine how much child support she will force him through the courts to pay, she need only point to her allegations to gain the sympathy she needs to obtain legal right to more of the economic power he earns. When a woman falsely accuses a man of hostile environment sexual harassment, like a common crook, she steals from him the power he earned, inflating her reputation at the expense of his. Through legislation, legal precedent, and the popular press, feminists are looting and squandering the power energizing our civilization, the power productive men and women create and earn. Why shouldn't they do this? After all, don't men have all the power? Isn't it true women are powerless? In the common male reality, women have great power, sexual power. Feminists scoff at this and deny there is such a thing as sexual power, and in a sense, they're right. Women's sexual power exists only in the minds of men. and in the minds of the women who use men's perception of female sexual power to their advantage. Consequently, all the power women have outside the power they earn side by side with men comes entirely from men. Sexual trade. For millennia, men earned female attention with the economic power their achievements and productive abilities brought, while most women attracted male attention with the sexual power of their bodies and affiliative skills. That is, men obtained power through individual accomplishment, while women obtained power from men through affiliation. Quote, Johnston concludes that men live in a world where they see power as coming from an individual acting in opposition to others and to natural forces. For women, Johnston claims, the community is the source of power, close quote. Deborah Tannen, you just don't understand. Feminists know this. Quote, male power is all that is real to you, close quote. Catherine McKinnon, in an interview with Ellen Rapp, Dangerous Liaisons, Working Woman, February 1992. By the way, Catherine McKinnon is the law professor, probably emeritus by now. Michigan, I think, is the state where she was teaching, who conceived of the concept of hostile environment sexual harassment. Continuing, men are the source of all their power, and to control that power, they must control men. To do that, they evoke men's good intentions to fuel another form of power, victim power. The community is the source of women's power, and the exercise of their sexual power depends upon being able to get men to enforce the institutions that allow them to regulate male behaviors. Men are naturally protective of women, and women invoke this protectiveness to their own advantage by portraying themselves as victims. That is, they use victim power to control men. Quote, the game of one-downmanship that these women play is reminiscent of a pattern in Iranian indirection that William Beeman calls getting the lower hand. But this game, Beeman explains, is intensely hierarchical in nature. By portraying himself as a lower in status, an Iranian puts himself at the mercy of someone more powerful who is thereby obligated to do things for him. It invokes the protector schema, close quote. Deborah Tannen, you just don't understand. This dynamic works for them because our culture sees most of what women do in the context of powerlessness, and what men do we see in the context of power. Feminists are using this perception as the vehicle to legislate, adjudicate, install, and prolong the sexual aristocracy of women. By the way, in many instances above where I used the word women, really what I was talking about was feminism, although many women do passively just accept that and use it. 2015, Olympia, Washington, hoping for the best but preparing for the worst. What you and I know, that feminists refuse to acknowledge, though they know and fear it is true, is that they cannot hope to subjugate men forever. Can you say MGTOW? Marxism in general, and cultural Marxism in particular, is unsustainable. It must eventually give way to the stark realities of human existence. Won't technologies free them from these realities? It's certainly possible. Earlier today, I started listening to Turd, Flinging Monkey, and I want to thank whoever recommended his channel to me. His videos are great. In the one I ended the day on, The Magic of Male Scarcity, he touched on a historical reality that whenever the population of men declines, male power increases. He cited a few general examples of this. The first time I read about this phenomenon was in Ray Tannehill's book, Sex and History, in which he described a time in ancient China when there were so many more women than men that even working class men could afford to have sometimes as many as 3 wives each. He noted that as technologies advance, they will relieve men of the need for women for reproduction and comfort, and he's right. But technologies that free men from women also have the potential to free women from men. I'll explain why, though I think this will probably need to happen, at least for a little while. It's a bad idea. In my next video, send in the clones. That's all for now. Check out the other videos, subscribe to the channel. For the Backlash at Backlash.com, my name is Rod Van Mechelen.